Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to YOUmedia Miami's Virtual Podcast. We're representing the Miami-Dade Public Library System. And so we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. We have a special guest here today. Her name is Reyna Noreiga. And I am Biani. I'm a specialist here at YOUmedia. I work at the South Dade Regional Library branch. And I can go around and start.
Hi, I'm Chantel. I am the specialist at Lemon City branch.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm an instructor at South Dade Regional Library.
And I'm Arby. I'm one of the instructors at Lemon City branch as well too.
Nice.
And I'm your guest, Reyna, artist, author, and educator.
Nice. So we're going to go around and we're going to ask you a few questions. We're so happy to have you here, Reyna. Mm-hmm. Our first question is, can you tell us about where you're from and how it's influenced your art?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Miami, here my whole life. My mom is from the Bahamas and my dad is from Cuba. So kind of that Caribbean fusion that you tend to get in Miami. And I would say it influences my work more so having been able to kind of like navigate in between different like privilege sets. It's tend to like make me focus on women of color and Black women and seeing how I can fill more spaces with beautiful images of them.
Excellent. So anybody could jump in if they want.
So I guess my question would be like, what is the easiest way to kind of start painting?
Well,
Throw it on the camera.
The easy answer would be to just do it, right? Just have fun with it. I think we tend to want to make something that we can be proud of, but I would like to see more people just focus on the emotion and like the tension you can release and the exploration aspect of it. I think that would make it much more enjoyable. So there's a lot of exercises. Like when I started painting, we just did like analogous colors, and just try painting something simple like a sunset with one color, adding white to make it lighter or Black to make the color deeper, and go from there.
Nice. And what stores, I'm just out of curiosity since I'm new to Miami and our teams would like to know, what stores should they go to get like paint supplies?
Art supplies, there is Michael's. Mm-hmm. Michael's has lots of art supplies and there's always some type of coupon or sale. There's Blick,
okay.
In the Dadeland area. And you can also like shop online, Amazon, Jerry's Artorama, which is more in like the Fort area, I believe.
Nice. Chantel, do you have any questions?
Mm-hmm. I have a question. I remember when I was younger in high school and middle school, the people that could draw, or paint, everybody would be asking them, "Oh, can you draw me? Can you draw me?" Like, did that happen to you when you were in school, when people asked you to draw them or paint them, or did you do that of your friends, or were you focused on different types of subjects back then?
Yeah, I've never experienced that much. I don't know if it's because my subjects have always been like pretty specific. When I was in high school, I was drawing a lot of I was just like taking magazines and trying to draw celebrities. But then I remember there being like kids in the class that we just enjoyed seeing them drawing. Draw me. But I think I was so private, like with my process, that people didn't really have the opportunity. Like, even now, I don't get comments like that, like unless people are like trying to hire me. People don't usually like suggest a subject to me. I'm not sure why. But I do like to use people around me as inspiration and as subjects. And I think it feels nice when like someone's not expecting to receive a portrait and then just like
give them a portrait.
Definitely.
So I know you talk about like people influencing like your work, but like has the city like Miami like has it affected your work, like influenced the work, and if so, how?
I would say the colors and the vibrancy, and wanting people to feel that like warmth and that joy. I'm also really inspired by like traveling. So I wouldn't say there's too much like Miami. I would say there's more of the energy.
Yeah, that's definitely reflected in the colors that you choose in your painting.
So like when you say Miami, right? Would you say like your audience is more Miami based? Like what is your audience, and then like how do you know your audience in a way?
Yeah, I mean, my goal is a global audience, and that's kind of what my subject and the settings have allowed for. Yeah, it's definitely much more global.
Okay.
Right.
Excellent.
And do you have a team behind you? Or are you just like a one-woman show?
That would be nice. Since quarantine, I've had my mom helping me with like fulfilling print orders and stuff. I definitely need help, but trying to find that balance between like, I don't know. I think it's hard as an independent artist. Like a manager would probably be nice, or like help, or like interns, but it's hard to find a good fit and to be able to like financially afford them or know that you can offer them something that is valuable for their time.
Right.
Yeah. When you talk about like financially afford them, right? Like kind of, I guess like as all freelancers, as a musician, when I make music, you will hope like people would kind of buy your work in a way. So I think this is kind of like a two-part question. Like, do you sell your work? And if so, like how do you go about pricing your work?
Yeah, so I make money as an artist in several ways. Prints and like products that I've put out with different companies are like passive income. And then I work as a designer, graphic designer. So people hire me for things like logos, book covers, whatever the case may be. And then sometimes I get paid for like teaching painting classes, or, you know, just like making appearances and things like that. So pricing, I've done a lot of research, you know, to see what other artists in my field charge and things like that. And
300,000. Sorry about that.
300,000.
300,000.
That would be nice. That'd be really
Why not?
I know.
Walk-in fee. That's what it is. It's just the walk-in fee.
That would be lovely. And you know, you realize that it's possible. There's companies that are paying artists a lot of money. You'd be surprised. You just gotta like tap into that market.
Right. It's there. There's definitely money there. I have a question. What advice would you give teens to get their work out there to be seen, other than the obvious? Are there any other tips?
I would say participate in anything that's going on, like stay in the know of like art shows and things that maybe they could submit to contests, post your work on social media, protect your work though, you know, put your watermark if you need to, whatever the case may be, but get into the habit of sharing and not waiting for feedback. Kind of just share as like your way to like release this thing that you've been working on, and like allow other people to interact with it. I think that if you focus too much on numbers, like this didn't get the amount of likes that I anticipated and stuff like that, it turns it what should be like a joyful experience into something that's like stressful. And you don't want that.
That happens a lot, especially like with other freelancers. They get out of the creative spot, and they're just really numbers focused, and that really takes away from your artistic value. But as a freelancer, I heard you say that you were like kind of solo on your own, which is good, girl. Go ahead, do your thing. But like, where do you get your support from? And what's the ups and downs of being a freelancer, let alone a solo freelancer?
Yeah, so I've been talking about that a lot lately. Just like the mental strength that you have to just trust in what you're doing and the growth that is to come. Because there's a lot of up and down and very little security, financially, emotionally. Like, just imagine taking on all of these things at once, you know, dealing with clients, being your own boss, setting your schedules. So
Yeah.
it definitely takes a lot, and you have to make sure that you are like emotionally prepared for it.
What do you mean by little security?
Like financial security, you know, like if you're working a job, you know that you're getting paid every week or every 2 weeks. Freelancing, you might get a check, and then you might not get any clients for a while and have to let that be like last while still needing to create, but while feeling, you know, you're going to feel all the feelings. You're going to feel stressed out. You're going to feel like you should quit, and you have to be able to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. I feel you on that one.
Yeah, I have a question. I know that I read that you were a high school teacher for 4 years in graphic design or graphic arts and what was it, art as well?
AP studio art, visual art. Mm-hmm.
Visual art. Okay. So when did you know it was time for you to transition into a full-time freelancer?
Sorry, I didn't hear the end of it.
That turning point that you knew like it's time for you to take that leap.
So there were a lot of things that contributed to it. I had like an internal clock in my mind. Like I always imagined myself being able to work from home whenever I was like grown and like ready to be married and be a mom or whatever. So I always felt like I needed to set myself up for that. But when I started teaching, I didn't anticipate like liking it so much. So I ended up getting like very comfortable. I loved my students. I loved my clubs. I loved the events that I was able to make. Mm-hmm. So my last year, you know, the universe, whatever you believe in, will make you uncomfortable when it's time for you to grow. And that's kind of like, you know, events were being cut, the students' privileges were being cut, and it's just like everyone was miserable. I was getting more and more miserable like every day. And it just felt like the change that I wanted to make internally was not gonna happen. So I needed to just kind of like grow on my own and let that reflect on what my students were able to see, you know, and maybe build that influence to like come back one day or something. But I don't know. It just like I could just feel that it was time.
Yeah.
But from there, I didn't jump into freelancing. Like I actually got a job as like a creative director, and it was from that job that like leadership was not good, and I ended up quitting and just kind of like I was like, well, whatever, I'll see, you know.
That's great. I read that your educational background is also in psychology, and does that influence your art as well?
I think it's given me a different perspective on the ways that we can like seek therapy and heal ourselves, and like just that release that our minds need. So I create things that I feel will have a positive impact on people, versus like when I first started drawing, I wanted to create things that I thought people would connect to, and to me that automatically translated to like trauma for in the beginning, you know, like I was drawing images to like combat child abuse and just like to uplift women, but by showing like the pain that we endure and things like that. And then I was just kind of like, when you're sad, right, you can either lay in bed all day and listen to sad songs, or you can turn on that song that like reminds you of happier times, and you can dance and you can like shake it off. So I wanted my art to provide the latter, to be like something that will uplift people and make them imagine and appreciate like their beauty and their strengths, versus bonding over our shared trauma, you know. And I think that it's important like to acknowledge the sad and the negative things, but I wanted to contribute in a positive way.
Yeah. So speaking of that, right? Like, I know with most artists, musicians, or anyone, when they make a piece, right? So let's say you went in, you painted something really great, and you put it up for display. What is the one thing that you want a viewer to just look at your painting and see? Like, what's their takeaway that you want them to have?
Well, I would want them to see that somebody that they love, maybe themselves. That's one of the reasons that I don't use faces and eyeballs on my women, because I really like it when a woman can look at it and like just see like her skin tone and her hairstyle and be like that. I thought, it felt like me. I feel like when you give them eyes, they have souls and their own stories and stuff like that. So I really like when someone can come and look at a piece and say like, that reminds me of me, that reminds me of my cousin, that reminds me of my mom, my auntie, whoever, just someone that they love and also admire.
That's what. Well, I guess okay. Well,
Rachel has a question. Hold on one second.
Go ahead, Rachel. You got it.
Do you believe that the eyes are the window to the soul? And also another question, do you ever do self-portraits that you just keep to yourself, like as a diary?
Mm-hmm. So yes, absolutely. I think that eyes are windows to the soul. And sometimes I'll experience that even now, like doing my style, but making something for a specific person or a specific brand, I kind of have to make the judgment like, eyes would be better here because like this is a specific person that I'm drawing. And then your second question, what was your second question? I think the answer was yes, but
hold on one second.
Do you believe that eyes are like the portal to the soul? I think that was the question.
That was the first question.
Do you ever do
self-portrait? Yes, absolutely. I think that's so important.
Chantel, I think you're frozen. You can chat your question. I can ask it for you. You're frozen. But hello, Chantel, you're back.
So there we go.
Okay.
Chantel?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You kind of froze in mid-question.
Oh, yeah, I was hearing some of everything. I was just like, I'll just sit here. Has there been any celebrities that have reached out to you? Have you had any sales towards celebrities? The teens definitely know.
That's funny. It's funny how like the internet makes the world a small place. One day I saw that the CEO of Blavity, that she had like my pieces in her office. I didn't get to work with her, but Chance the Rapper's wife contacted me to get some art done. And it's just like, it'll be very random, like things you don't expect. I had done the Masego. I don't know if you guys listen to Masego. I did a song cover, and that was not something that like I was hired to do. It was just something where like I liked his music, so I did it. He saw it, he used it. And the other day I ended up getting like a DM from him, and he's like, "Oh wow, like I was just coming to say that I like your work. I didn't realize you were the one that made this." And it's just like, it's just the funny way that the internet works.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
So manifesting that, more celebrities come your way.
For sure.
It's going to happen.
Definitely. So you were quoted in an article saying that writing is your first love. Did you go to like one of our branches when you were younger? And like, what's your favorite book?
Ooh, what is my favorite book? So of course, the library was my favorite place, and I was always a book hoarder. So like, even though I could probably only read 2 or 3 books each trip, I was a person that had to like leave with 7 or 8. Just to know that somebody else wasn't going to take them when I was ready for them. My favorite books, I loved A Series of Unfortunate Events. I just loved I love the adventure, and I love the humor that he used in his writing. I feel like even now, in my book, as serious as it is, sometimes if you read the titles, like they kind of like make it more fun and relatable. Because I really want like my voice to shine through. Like I want people to feel like they're talking to me as like a friend versus like some like elite figure that is unattainable.
So we also know that you have a degree in psychology. Okay, I see you, girl. I see you. So how has like your psychology degree influenced your work?
We asked that.
I'm sorry.
Barbie.
You did? Okay, I kind of zoned out for that one. But
because I wanted to say that I love a series of unfortunate events. I wanted to talk about Lemony Snicket a little more.
Go ahead.
No,
you got
I'm
that.
just saying, like, yeah.
Okay, so how about this?
How does clap it up for the bookworm?
Got to. Okay, so what's your process for creating art? I guess that'd be a more appropriate question.
So first I would need to know it depends on what I'm feeling. And I think that what I'm feeling determines like the colors that I'm using, what I'm longing for. I think lately I've been sharing a lot more pictures of like groups of women. And I think that because since we're in isolation, I'm kind of like craving my sisterhood, and just like being able to embrace people. But sometimes it'll just be like me needing to remember a time where I felt more confident or more free. And so that'll determine like what the setting is. You know, it might be like a place that I hope to travel, or like, you know, like just something that I'm dreaming of doing, or like a pose, some type of confidence that I'm trying to channel through the art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it pretty much just flows from there.
I know for me in music, right, it's kind of like extemporaneous. You hear something, you just play it. But at the same time, I know there's a skill. You got to know your skills, your different modes. So is painting like a skill? And is it something even on your level that you still have to practice every day?
I think so. I would say because that's how you get to a point where you master your technique. And as I grow and as like my platform grows, it opens up the space for me to be an and if all that I'm doing is like putting colors and shapes on canvas, pretty soon the people that I inspire will be making the same things as me. So it just always keeps in my mind that I have to continue like leveling up, and I have to continue making an art making process that is completely unique to me, and you know, can't be duplicated. So whether it's like experimenting with different materials or just like whatever the case may be, I think that you always want to just keep growing, you know. And there's just little things that I still want to perfect, you know, my lines, just like the thickness of color I'm using, and finding the perfect like substance and things like that, and making the perfect texture. I think that those are things that come with like trial and error. And I always liked when you go to like museums, and if you actually read the descriptions of the pieces and stuff, and sometimes it'll tell you about the artist process. And I always think it's really interesting to just know that an artist can spend years like playing with things and come to something crazy. Like now they're adding rice to their paint so that it has lump, you know, like just like weird things. But you can only, by exploring the process, that's how you come to things like that.
So what advice would you give to your younger self, your younger artist self, when you were like a teenager?
I would tell her, don't worry, and to just trust the process and enjoy. Because back then once I figured out that I could somewhat draw, and, you know, people were telling me they liked the way that I draw, I wanted to immediately be able to make it a career. And that caused a lot of stress because I didn't have a style yet, and there was just a lot that I didn't know. So I would tell her to just relax and enjoy.
And lastly, we wanted you to talk about your book and share some of your poems. Yeah, we're so proud of you. We all love to read, so we were really excited about your book release.
Yes, I will be going on Amazon I try to stay away, but see, I have to go.
Right. My book will arrive next week on, I think, Wednesday. So I'm really excited.
Ooh.
Yeah. Can you tell us about
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Tell us about what inspired you.
Yeah. So like I said, writing, well, like RB mentioned that I've said before, writing was my first love. I used to win a lot of contests and stuff for writing. So I wrote my first novel in like the 11th grade and never published it, never got it edited. Like it's still sitting in my hard drive. But always felt some type of way about like wanting to be considered an author, but not having published anything officially. And it would just like eat away. And I've written more, novels since then, but it's just like the process never came to completion. And so for my first book, it was just, I started noticing that I was like writing my feelings down in my phone, in my notes, and they were just like me making sense of my feelings in a way that sounded like short poems. And so I ended up putting all of those poems together, and it made my first poetry collection. And even though that when I was very shy to share and like embarrassed for people to know like my intimate thoughts and feelings, it helped a lot of people and they enjoyed it. So as I noticed, after quitting teaching and just all of the changes and growth and mental things that I was working through, I just started to think like if I was more intentional about what I was writing, it could probably also help people, And so,
can we see it on the screen? That with the cover, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
This cover was like the longest part of the process. I made a bunch of them, and then this was finally the one that was it for me.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like in 4
What do you
parts. Sorry, Chantel, what?
Sorry. I was going to ask, what do you say to those perfectionists, those teens who, like me, V as well, who are taking maybe 10 years to put out whatever? What do you say to those teens who they can't get out? We also have teens who are in music and they just cannot drop their music because, it has to be perfect.
It has to be perfect. Mm-hmm. So across the board, I always say start so you can evolve. Once you have something out and you can feel it, see it, you can look at it and say like, I'm proud of this, but next time I would have done X, Y, Z. If there's nothing, like you have nothing to really go off of. It's just an idea in your head. And it also helps you get over that anxiety of releasing something, because each time you do, it's kind of like it's a whole experience. So I would definitely say just get yourself used to that process of sharing with the world.
Do you think there's such thing as like the perfect product?
No,
not in art either. Especially not in art.
Because we're growing and we're evolving. So, and I think it's nice to be able to look at it and say like, wow, this is where I was and this is where I am now. And then you make something else and then you can just like, you can see that growth. I think that feels much better than just like having something perfect.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Y'all hear that? Drop those tracks.
Yeah.
Chris.
Whether they're tracks, drop those writings.
Yeah.
Drop those illustrations.
Everything.
Share them.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
But yeah, so this book, it's titled In Bloom, a poetic documentary of the journey to higher self. So I split it into 4 parts. A flower wilts, a seed takes root, the first sprout, and then the flower blooms. And so it's kind of just like, just funny how art imitates life. When I moved into my apartment, I got a bunch of plants. And as I was like watering for the plants and caring for the plants, I started to see how that parallels with like the way that we water and care for ourselves and the attention we show ourselves. And it just like, it proved to be true. Like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And just like creating processes for yourself that are sustainable. making sure you feel good, finding happiness within yourself, and just like all of the negative thoughts and things that I was trying to like cover up with just like constantly working, constantly moving forward, like letting myself sit with them, process them, and truly heal from them so that I could evolve into the person that I wanted to be.
Beautiful.
So what poem would you like to share today?
Story time.
I know we put you on the spot.
Any poem.
Anything for peace of mind. Everybody's home. A lot of the teens are just saying that they're gonna lose their minds and things like that. Or ways that they can show themselves some love during this time.
Oof, let's see.
Yeah, probably the whole book. Let's bloom, everybody. Bloom. Bloom, RB. Bloom, Rachel.
Let's see. Maybe that one.
Mm-hmm. Or that third or the sixth.
If I find one, if I find another one. This one says, I said yes to me, my higher self. I had been bargaining for so long. Can I? Should I? Do I want to? Were the little visions and inklings I got for more a reflection of a destiny or a selfish need? It's time to push beyond the noise, beyond the doubt, and elevate.
Cues music.
We learned to snap.
Felt that. I felt that. See,
Yeah,
that's like the perfect narrative. Have you ever thought about like recording these and then like making it into an audio book, because your voice is like perfect for that? Like I can hear that in my car. You just ride and then you got the AirPods on. I thought of myself. Like it's really
seriously.
relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, Eric Thomas just put out another motivational audio book, so you could totally do exactly that.
I wonder if you can copyright that.
Can you already?
You
can copyright that. Copyright that, get them. For me, when I play and I create music, I can't have shoes on. Like what is like, it's weird for people like you can't wear shoes. Like for you, what is like that one little pet peeve that you cannot have in your environment, like when you're creating?
Or that she needs?
Or that you need, yeah, because I need to be barefoot. I can't.
Like a bowl of Cheez-It?
A bowl of cheese. It has to be there with the watermelon. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
What
about you?
I need good lighting. Mm-hmm. Wait, what's
you said what?
I was saying I can't be in a cluttered environment when I'm creating. Like messy and just organized, like can't at all.
Yeah.
What about you, Reyna?
Okay, so I was gonna say that I need natural light. So I need a good window. I like smells. So like candles or incense. I like to be able to feel that flow of energy. I think that's why I like incense and like certain like music that are nature sounds. I think it's important to not feel stagnant, like especially if you're sitting in the computer all day. Like it needs to feel like there's energy flowing. I like to be comfortable clothing wise, but I don't think I have any like specifics. Because I'll definitely like some days I need to feel dressed and I'll get dressed, and then some days it's pajamas. So just as long as my mind is matching what I'm feeling, fine.
For sure. We're so happy to have you here today. Does anyone have any final questions?
Nah. I think we answered all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. We'll have her here another hour.
I know. You're so easy to talk to. We can just talk to you forever.
Right.
Can the team send you their work?
What's one random question? I have one. Like, can you tell us like one fun fact about yourself? Just about your personality, and it could be anything. Like,
what is my fun fact? My fun fact is, that's not really a fun fact. I wish that I could sing.
What?
I wish that I could sing and play. So it was like writing, and then remember when like everyone had a YouTube and they were singing acoustics with their guitar?
Mm-hmm.
And I learned, but then I realized that I couldn't sing. So that was very heartbreaking.
Really? I don't know. I felt like you were able to sing, so you can't sing for real?
I mean, here's the thing. Every time I have sang, someone has told me to shut up. Okay, so maybe it is my sister and my mom being mean, but I'm always told to shut up. And I have a sister that can actually sing. Like she could rival. I'll say it, Whitney. She could probably rival Whitney.
Oh, hold on now. That's a big claim now. That's a big claim.
I don't say that lightly. So even if I can sing, I would be more of like maybe not as bad as Rihanna. I love Rihanna, but I think I would need good music and like some like, you would have to layer those voices and get the harmony. But like my breathing is terrible. My control is terrible. But I love, like, to me that feels like the best way to release like feelings and stuff. But I can't. So I gotta draw and write instead, and it's like whatever.
We got 15 minutes, so I gotta really figure this one out, because I heard you say like you really needed like music to kind of like setting your tone. So like, what artists like do you put on that really like gets you into the zone of writing? Like, who do you listen to?
Other than her nature sounds.
Other than your nature sounds.
So I've been told that I listen to like vibey music.
Is it by artists or is it like instrumentals?
I'll do instrumentals, but I like artists with like soft voices. Like I listen to Alina Baraz. Music wise, I like Sango. I don't know if you guys have listened to Sango.
I love Sango.
Xavier Omar.
I love him. He's my favorite.
Those artists that are kind of like not quite R&B, but it's like good music.
A vibe.
Voices. It's basically a vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I could do R&B too. I love me some Summer Walker. Music.
Just a vibe, yeah.
Just a vibe.
Okay.
I'm a huge Xavier Omar fan. I love his music.
So good. Such a good voice.
That's great.
Yeah. Awesome range.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much. We loved having you today. I know the teams will love watching this video. You definitely dropped some gems in this podcast. So we definitely appreciate you, and thank you for sharing your work.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being an inspiration.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for what you guys are doing with the kids.
Thank you.
Thank
you. We have to let you guys know that next week on Monday, it's going to be our game podcast. Why does everybody look confused? We always have a game podcast on Monday. So it's at 4 p.m. I thought he was really frozen after.
We can't see him moving in slow motion.
Oh, that was hilarious.
It's me that announces that, you announced that. So I felt really awkward for a second. Like, so. Okay, so tune into our podcast on next Monday at 4 p.m. We have our game show podcast. We would love to see you there. Everyone, have a great weekend, and thank you so much, Reyna.
Thank you again, Reyna.
Thank you for having me.
Nice meeting you.
Bye. Enjoy your weekends however you can.
We will.
Yes, sure will.
Definitely.
Some paint at the wall.
This is a good time for some
right.
craft.
It is.
Get some canvases.
Definitely.
Buy a t-shirt, and like I've been doing that, like buy a blank t-shirt and like cut it and tie it and different things.
Yeah, tie that. What I've seen, like all kinds of things. I think that's cool though. A lot of people are like discovering a lot of things during this time.
Definitely. Okay.
There it is.
Awesome.
Okay, y'all.
Peace.
Bye.
Nice meeting you.
You too.